It looks as if we have been spending quite a bit of time in the realm of our minds as of late by the cards that have been pulled today. The opening card that we have is the Four of Swords. The challenge that we have today is the Three of Cups. The way we're going to get through the challenge is the Ace of Wands. And then the ultimate outcome for the day, I pulled 3 cards. In a moment, you'll understand why. The first of which was the Three of Swords, and the clarifying cards of the Two of Swords and the Five of Wands. So no major arcanas today, but lots of swords are on the table. Now, just as a side note, if you are curious as to the deck that I'm reading with, I hand drew this deck in the years of 2011 and 2012, and then I just got it printed this year because I was reading with my hand-drawn deck, offering daily videos, and the lamination started to separate from the card itself. And so this year I had actually done a call for donations to help me print them, and a lot of people helped out, which allowed me to get the software that I needed to be able to scan my cards and resize my cards so that I could eventually get this prototype deck printed. And my aim is to get a number of decks printed so that I can actually sell them as a way of funding my tarot and Astro Tarot videos. But I also am accepting donations. My first push for donations got me through the first precipice, so to speak, by way of allowing me to get the software and things that I needed to be able to scan and resize my cards. And now I'm in the process of wanting to print them. So I'm doing another push as far as asking for donations. Of course, if you'd like a reading, that will go towards this process as well. But I'll leave a link below if you are feeling grateful for these videos that I've been putting out, and if you'd like to contribute to me being able to print my cards, I would really appreciate it. Now, as far as the cards that are on the table today, I had mentioned that we are spending a lot of time in the mind. And right now, when you consider that Mars has been in retrograde in the sign of Gemini, it makes a lot of sense, because Mars is that warrior aspect of ourselves. It's that part of ourselves that is willing to be engaged and is willing to go into do the work, because there's a fire that's lit inside of ourselves. And yet this action-oriented aspect of ourselves has been in retrograde in the realm of the mind. So it's as if we've all been looking over our actions and our behaviors and really considering if we've been acting with the right strategy or if we maybe need to shift things around a bit. So we have this opening card of the Four of Swords, which is the long question. It's someone who is spending a lot of time in their mind debating which of their ideas they want to apply out in life. But we see that there's this stillness in them, right? They're laying down. They're almost, and they're not almost, they're quite literally in a position of prayer with their hands peaked above their heart and their eyes closed. There's a lot of internal work that's going on right now, as if we're trying to plot and strategize what we're going to be moving toward in the next year. Now, our challenge came in by way of the Three of Cups. So perhaps you're looking over things in the past and really desiring to have some lightness in your life. And this is the challenge, right? Because when you're spending all your time in this introverted, isolated space, it's a very different energy than being out in the world and engaging with people. So this is posing some kind of challenge for us. It's giving us some kind of friction that's causing us to reevaluate our lives in a lot of ways, and reevaluate what our expectations around life are as well. Because consider that Mars right now, because we have a full moon today, is in alignment with the full moon, which is in a lot of ways bringing a lot of light and illumination to this area. And it's in 180-degree placement of the sun, which means that it's in opposition. That's why we can see the reflection of the sun on the full surface of the moon. We have a full moon. But at another square relationship and a 90-degree intersection of that, we also have Neptune. And Neptune just moved out of retrograde. And Neptune is that planet that's associated with our dreams, and our dreams in a sense of like really extravagant dreams. It's like the happily ever after story, you know. Neptune has that dreamlike quality to it, and it just moved out of retrograde. So we're likely experiencing a lot of sobriety when it comes to our dreams and wishes and aspirations. And we are having to look at our own actions, and if we position ourselves truly to be able to attain those aspirations that we have put in our mind. So we have this square relationship happening right now, and we're starting to see the illusion that we've been leading ourselves by in life, right? When they say happily ever after, it kind of puts this end point on life, like everything's perfect after here. But when we look at life, it's not like that. It gives us opportunities by way of friction and shifts and scenarios that we have to work through. And it's through those challenges that we grow and we actually create a beautiful life. So in a lot of ways, I feel like we're all holding on to these anchors and drawing in some new perspectives from this. Now, how do we get through this challenge? Well, it came through as the Ace of Wands. You have to engage, right? You can't just wish for happily ever after. You actually have to put some action toward it. And so perhaps you have this idea that's been, you know, like a smoldering flame in the background that you've just not really let lead you by way of, you know, like a staff that has a torch on the end. Like, what does it take? What would it look like for your dream, your actual dream, the one that you want to aspire for in life, not the one that's, you know, derived from conditioning of fairy tales, but your actual dream of what you want to create in this life? What would it take for you to apply your energy and effort toward it, and for that dream, that conception, that idea to actually lead your path by action rather than by the mind? So let's talk about these last three cards that we have on the table, because I think it's something important to look at. We have the Three of Swords, which is a worry card. Now, in the place of the ultimate outcome, having the Three of Swords is like stirring some kind of fret, right? Some kind of concern, like, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this person does this, or this situation doesn't pan out? That worry that where we actually take the mind and we pierce through our emotional wishes, and in that way almost deflate them. The mind can be what an asshole sometimes that way, but the mind can also be inspiring and encouraging, and it really depends on what emotion we stir in the context of our thoughts and what we consider, because it is a tool that we need to learn how to manage and navigate ultimately. But let's talk about these last two cards, because I wasn't going to leave us on this Three of Swords energy. We had the clarifying card of the Two of Swords, and then also the Five of Wands. So yeah, we're in this indecisive place and measuring a lot of things and spending a lot of time internally thinking things over and measuring things. And it's interesting, right? Because we have this opening card of the Four of Swords, and then we have a clarifying card of the Two of Swords. And there's this measuring and weighing that we're doing with our mind. But consider that the mind is connected to the element of air, right? It is literally unweighted. It is flowing and shifting, and in some ways we can actually imprison ourselves in that place. But what we need to do is we need to learn how to engage ourselves and have some kind of ability to decide how and where we get engaged, right? We have a full moon in Mars today, which can be very combative in energy. It can bring up a lot of tense conversations, quite likely because people have been holding on to a lot internally. And having this fiery energy with the moon means that there's going to be some kind of expression because they are in the sign of Gemini, which is all about communications and all about expression. But how do you engage, and in what aim are you engaging for? Right? We can see that these 5 figures that are in this card can look as if they are either combative or they're in some kind of training. And it's a number 5. So the numeral of 5 is a choice, right? It has this V-like structure. So you can go one direction or another, but you have a choice. If someone engages you in something that is a struggle today, remember, it's up to you in how you respond or if you react. And a lot of the times when people are bringing up intense conversations, it's because they have been holding on to them for a long time and working them over in the mind. And actually vocalizing them, while it can create some kind of friction in some ways, it ultimately opens things up so that we can work with them. And it ultimately is up to us in how we engage with that. So I think it's important for us to keep our goal at the forefront of our energy and let it lead us to our next thing rather than staying stuck in the imprisonment of the mind. But everything in due time, right? I hope you all are well. I hope you all are getting through the holiday season and are able to create some balance for yourself. You know, not just staying in the mind, but also spending some time with your body, making sure you nurture yourself and you nourish yourself. Because one thing I've learned is that when I go through an emotional funk, it's really hard to eat. And yesterday was the 14th anniversary of my mom passing away. And, you know, man, the maple waters are right beyond the veil. And I think there's a lot of us that are navigating through some emotional terrain right now. And if we can hold space for each other, then we're blessed. I send you so much love and a good wish, and I'll see you again soon. I hope you have a blessed day.